the ultimate alternative music channel. This is Revolution Radio.
Things need to change. You know what I mean? And it's people like you that bring that change and help to affect things. That's what I actually wanted to ask you your opinion on. You touched on it briefly, and I think it's a really, really good point. Influencer versus real action. There's a million and one, TikTok influencers.
Right.
But real action for me is something that you did. Real action, making change.
Thank you.
Knowing that you've done something like that, I don't think it would be kind of simple for me to ask you, how does it make you feel? But I think, it is one of these things that moving forward, it's going to be one of those things that is going to have an impact for the rest of the Anthem's life, essentially, because now people are going to be saying, maybe Ms. Jully has a point. Maybe we should say, on instead of our, So knowing that moving forward, I think, would you give any advice to people to help make change as opposed to just saying, this is what I believe, and kind of just leaving it there, kind of floating in air, and then, but actually someone like you coming along and saying, no, this is how you make change.
Oh, wow. Thank you. You can tell this is it's so personal. It's become something that's a barometer for me now, and everything that I do, is it meaningful? How is this going to impact others? And I just got to the point, especially being in this business, the music business, for so long, where it can be very narcissistic. Artists, I'm an artist, a lot of people want to tend to our needs. What do you need? What can we do for you? What can we do for you? But I was raised to serve. And I think sometimes, if I had to be totally honest, sometimes I'm like, maybe that's why I didn't, I'm not as far as others, whatever that means, There are those who are really selfish and they'll just go for theirs and not really concern themselves with everybody else. And I wasn't raised that way. And so I recognize now that when my mom used to say the race is not for the swift, but for those who endure, I get it. I get the endurance side of things.
Yeah.
And being able to have sympathy for others and empathy, because I understand what it's like to be disenfranchised and to be, be a minority. But also I said this, and I'm so happy that there's three of you that don't look like me and your men on this call. Because I said this recently in a show, and I'm going to say it here, and it just went over so well. Black people we tend to say we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. And if you're white, identify as white, whatever, I want you to think about consider this. You can be your ancestors' biggest nightmare and changing the past, by making a different decision, choosing another thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just choose differently. We prejudge every single day. I don't care. I think too many of us don't admit that we're walking around with some traumas, and those who may have been racialized on all all sides of the coin. You know what I mean? I could speak to the Black community and say, tell me a time you haven't felt, okay, the white person's done me wrong. That's racializing a community, right? So I think it's important for us to realize, especially me living as a Black woman, to help the white community, especially say, hey, I want you to now lift the guilt. Because if you're walking with your head down on eggshells, afraid to say something, silence is violence. Let's go.
Yeah.
We have to have the tough conversations. And then we also need to celebrate together. We need to celebrate. We've come a long way.
Yeah.
Right? And so when in my prayers and my meditations, I talk to God about, okay, I want my star to be as bright as possible. It's not for me. It's because when you have big influence, big impact, part of me, you can make big change. You make bigger change. And on the flip side, if you're an asshole and then you get, you come up into success, you're going to be a bigger asshole.
Yep.
So I know my heart, and I know that I'm doing the work to live love, not look for it out there, to be it, so that people feel the energy and want to subscribe and tune into this frequency. It's like a radio dial. Imagine walking through life. We need to turn the dial, right? Take our time to remember back in the day where we had to like move the little thing to try and get it. It wasn't digital yet. We're like rolling.
Yeah.
Yep.
With the little red pin that went across the. Yeah.
Imagine that though,
Yep.
right? So we need to slow it down to have that red pin hit that mark.
This is the most impactful conversation we've ever had.
Honestly, this is
I mean, we're sitting like,
in my mind right now.
like you're saying a lot of stuff, and honestly, I can tell you for a fact that the three of us are just sitting here, just sitting with it. We're not just letting it go by. We're sitting with it. We're listening. We hear you. It hits. We got you.
Yeah.
But
Man,
like,
everything to me.
I'm sitting here going, what do we say to this?